Hi guys, and welcome to a team review episode. So, this past 2 weeks we have played this Mega Blaziken team on the channel. It's been a lot of fun and I've had a lot of you ask for the Pastebin QR code of the team and a brief overview. So I thought for a change I would do a little episode, a little snippet. It's not going to be to the extent that the Stuttgart regional team report was done to, so we're going to try and condense it right down and just go through it very briefly and give you guys the information that you're asking for, and I hope you do enjoy it, guys. As always, if you do enjoy these sort of videos, do leave a like on the video. It obviously does help and support the channel, and if you're not subscribed, do subscribe to the channel because you will get all the updates, you know, hopefully if YouTube send updates about new videos, about all the content, because we do primarily lots of video game championship content on the channel. We do a lot of, you know, we've got a battle series that we do, and once I come back in June we'll be upping the content quite significantly because I'll have a lot more time on my hands and I'll be able to invest a lot more time into the channel like I would like to do. So it'll be very good. So yes, if you're interested in the video game championship, then do subscribe to the channel because content is rife on the channel, or it will be, at least in June. And while I'm away on holiday over these next 2 weeks, content will be on the channel. We're going to be playing a couple of really fun teams, not massively serious, but they're kind of competitive and some nice ideas in them as well. A lot of fun and some of my favorite Pokemon. So I hope you enjoy that content and those teams while I am away, and looking forward to coming back and getting a bit more involved with content on the channel. So anyway, on to today's episode, because we're going to be going over this Mega Blaziken team like I say. I'll just give you a quick overview of the team. So we've got that Mega Blaziken, the pinnacle, the peak, the master of the team. Then we have the Bishop, the Tapu Koko, Landorus Therian, Amoonguss, and Azumarill. So when I was putting this team together, it was a bit strange how I kind of ended up with this team, because the concept, I wanted to run something different on the channel. I wanted to run a different Mega than we've played all season, so I thought Mega Blaziken's great. I know it's had success at tournaments earlier in the season and throughout the season as well. So it wasn't. I took some ideas from teams that we've seen to have some success with Mega Blaziken as well. So I'm not going to take full credit for the whole concept of the team because I have borrowed ideas, but that's what it's all about. You know, you see successful modes and teams played and you kind of borrow those ideas because you know they work and they make a lot of sense. But if you can make sense of them in your own mind, then it makes more sense when you're playing them, if you get what I mean, rather than just take ideas and put them out there and see if it works. If you can kind of really conceptually understand why these Pokemon are in the team, then it'll make your transition into playing it on, like actually in battle, a lot easier. So as I say, we've seen Mega Blaziken have some success so far this season. I don't think it's won an event yet, a major event anyway, but I would not be surprised if we saw it win a major event. It's a very good Pokemon. I've thoroughly enjoyed playing it, and I feel like it's got a lot of potential. The fighting and fire typing that it's got is amazing, especially in this format. You hit a lot of things that are very common. I think fighting is a type that is very good in this format and we very rarely see it, so that is extremely good. The fighting, the fire typing as well is obviously very good because of the steel typings that we have in the format. Grass typings as well are very common, so it does very well. Obviously got that amazing ability as well, and speed boost, that at the end of each turn it gets a stat boost in its speed. So just making it crazy good if you can kind of prevent speed control on your opponent's side of the field. Like I'm really talking about Trick Room here because Tailwind, you can get around that pretty nicely. And we've got other bits on the team that you need to worry about. I think one of the biggest counters to Mega Blaziken is obviously that Trick Room, so you need to have good checks to that all over your team and ways to kind of get around that, stop it, stall it out if it does go up and things like that. So we'll go through some of the core weaknesses and things like that, but as we go through the team, but I'll just try and make this as quick as possible because I want to try and keep this down to about 15 minutes if possible, 15 to 20 minutes. So Mega Blaziken, we have a moveset of Protect, Rock Slide, Super Power, Flare Blitz. We've got 2 primary stab attacks that are taking advantage of its typing in Super Power and Flare Blitz, and then a coverage move in Rock Slide. Now I went for Rock Slide because if you look at the team overall, we haven't got the best matchup against Charizard Y, especially a well built and solid Charizard Y team. So having that speed boost ability means we get the jump after 1 turn on the majority of Charizard Ys, and we've then got that stab Rock Slide to hit them with. And also the added bonus of playing Rock Slide with Blaziken is, because most of the time we're going to get a speed boost, if we're going to be firing off those Rock Slides, we're going to be faster than our opponent, so we're going to have that 30% flinch chance, which can swing a game here, there or everywhere. We've got an EV spread. We went for an Adamant Nature. We've got 108 HP EVs, 140 attack, 12 defense, 28 special defense, and 220 speed. So the speed there is primarily to get the jump on base 95 Pokemon, primarily Tapu Lele, so we can always, after 1 speed boost, outspeed Scarf Tapu Lele, because the majority of Scarf Tapu Lele are always going to be modest. It doesn't make much sense to go timid. It makes a lot more sense to go modest, obviously, to take full advantage of that huge special attack that Tapu Lele has. So after one speed boost, like I say, we're going to be getting the jump on it, and we'll be able to pick up the KO, potentially unintimidated with our Flare Blitz, depending on how it is EV trained. Now let's quickly, before we move on to the Bishop, go over to the damage calculator here. I've already got the Blaziken added in, already prepared, and as you can see, one of the big things with Mega Blaziken, or Blaziken in general, is the chance that Tapu Lele has on just a 4 HP Blaziken is to actually, in Psychic terrain, pick up a KO through Protect with the Shattered Psyche. Now, one of the things that I wanted to make sure 100% that we were able to get around was that. So it's not something that I would kind of, place myself in a position, but like out of choice. But if we're in a really tight spot and we know that the Shattered Psyche is there, say in a best of 3 situation, we can always have the confidence that we know we can take that from a modest 252 Tapu Lele in the Psychic terrain. We can Protect on it, take the attack, and then the next turn we can return the favor on that Tapu Lele, as long as it's a 4 HP variant most of the time, and KO with the attack investment that we've got from the Mega Blaziken. 105 minimum, and picking up the KO there, which would mean the one-on-one match we would win that. So that's quite nice, just reassuring, I guess, in a little way. And one of the things I would like to mention is throughout the last 2 weeks when we've been playing this, we had one comment from Johnny asking if I thought about a mixed Mega Blaziken, and I definitely had thought about it, but I feel like I really would prefer to take advantage of that massive base 160 attack that Blaziken has, and also its physical pool I feel is a lot better than its special pool, and we get a lot more KOs going physical than we would special. Say with the Blaziken here, if we went mixed and we went overheat, we wouldn't be getting the KO on Tapu Lele at all. We'd miss that, and that was one of the big key things, I think, just being able to ensure without the intimidate that we'd be able to pick up the KO there. The other thing you might be wondering is why I went Super Power over maybe something like Low Kick. Now Super Power is a little bit detrimental because if you use it you get the attack and the defense drop, which is not so good, but I wanted to ensure I could KO like certain threats with the Super Power, which you sometimes miss with the Low Kick. So let's just say Incineroar for a good example. Now I'm just going to put in a very standard, so I think it's 116. It doesn't really matter about the attack, but 236 and 4 in defense is quite a very standard Incineroar. Also, I will mention, guys, if you ever need a resource to look at very common EV spreads and things like that, I will link this site in the description below. It's Pikalytics. You can go on there. It's got all of the VGC 18 Showdown and the Global Link stats. Obviously the Global Link doesn't have EV spreads, but the Showdown section, Pokedex, there does have access to common EV spreads, so you can look through the EV spreads, see which ones are being used more commonly, and kind of against those, and it's such a good tool. It's got every Pokemon in here, it's got stats and everything like that against the usage, move pools, abilities that are used, items that are used, teammates that it's like commonly used with, and things like that, move sets, everything. It's got absolutely everything. It's amazing. It's a really good resource. So use it if you're team building and doing damage calcs. It's very, very useful. I wouldn't say you have to rely on it 100%, but I would say it's very useful. So basically, that is the Blaziken there. You can see here that the super power on that standard Incineroar is 88 to 105, whereas the low kick -1 is 58 to 70. One of the things that I keep mentioning is that one of the bigger weaknesses with the Incineroar, with the Blaziken, is the Intimidate, because we are physical, and that kind of leads us on to the Bishop. Why we're using the Bishop, because we've got that Defiant ability with the Bishop that kind of puts off our opponents bringing in their Intimidate users, because they don't want to give that boost to something like Bishop. Anyway, the other calcs that we've got for the EV spread are really, one of the big ones was the Stomp and Tantrum as well, so that HP number obviously is nicely rounded, so we reduce damage from sand and hail, if that is a thing, and also we've got a really good chance, like 6.3% chance for a Jolly max attack Mega Metagross to KOs with Stomp and Tantrum, so like 9 times out of 10, or 9.9 times out of 10, or well, not 9.9, but you know, 9.3.7, 93.7 times out of 10, whatever. We're going to survive that attack, obviously, so most of the time we survive that attack. I'm going to stop rambling, but that was a big calc that I wanted to make sure we got. Obviously we return the with a KO on Metagross, Mega Metagross, so that's nice with the Flare Blitz. Tapu Koko, I wanted to make sure as well that we do survive the Life Orb T-Bolt in electric terrain, so we take that 100% of the time, which is also nice. And Blaziken, let's go to Charizard as well, so we can see what the Rock Slide calc on Charizard is. And even if it's like bulky Charizard, like Charizard in return, 252 health, as long as we're not intimidated, we're going to be getting the KO with that Rock Slide. So that kind of rounds up Blaziken, and as I say, I'm not going to go into too many details here with the team as I did in the Stuttgart one. I'll just briefly go over it, and like I mentioned, we'll move on to Bishop, the second member of the team, and to complement the Blaziken and help it kind of against the Intimidate spam that you so commonly see at the moment. Landorus, Incineroar are huge in the format. They're going to be everywhere. They use to kind of nerf the big physical attackers in the format, namely Metagross and other things like Landorus, Therian, and we'll throw Blaziken into that as well. So with the Bishop there, with that Defiant ability that does give you the attack boost if an Intimidate is put onto it, it does put off your opponent from spamming the Intimidate as much as they would probably like to against these physical attackers, so kind of protecting Blaziken and really helping ensure that it is going to be able to pick up those KOs when you can pick them up. And I felt with the EV spread of Blaziken, we could kind of, with that protection from Bishop that puts off those Intimidators, we can net the KOs that we want, we can calc those, and with the extra EVs we can bulk it out to take those attacks that we might not have been able to just go on a 252-252 spread. The speed, like I said, kind of helps us outrun Tapu Lele, Scoff Tapu Lele after one speed boost. I don't feel like we need too much more there, and you could argue some other things. You could argue to go a bit faster, maybe a bit slow, maybe a bit more bulky, but I felt like that was quite a nice even ground with the Blaziken. Bishop's EV spreads, very straightforward. We've got the Focus Sash on it, so it gives it that bit of security. We can take any hit and we will always survive. Its steel typing is obviously very complementary to the Focus Sash, being sand one of the more common weathers in the format. Really hail is the other one, but we very rarely see hail, so that steel typing really acting very nicely with the Focus Sash, meaning that the sand chip can't take us down if we do go down to our sash. Very straightforward moveset as well. We've got Protect, we haven't got Low Kick on it, I'm lying with this one. We've got Iron Head, Knockoff, Sucker Punch, and I didn't go for Low Kick because we've got the fighting coverage from the Blaziken, and it's going to be probably our main kind of motif Pokemon for the team, so we're going to be bringing it most of the time, so we've got that fighting type stab from that we don't need the coverage there, and I felt the Iron Head would be more fitting on Bishop in this team. So yeah, like I say, Protect, Iron Head, Knockoff, Sucker Punch. EV spread, we don't really need to mention anything very fancy here. We've just went 252, 252. We don't need to worry about too many calcs because we've got the focus sash, and we wanted to go max attack, adamant nature. So, you know, most of the time we're going to be outrunning things like Tapu Fini, Tapu Bulu, unless it's max speed, and most of the time we're going to be able to get at least one attack off, and we've got the nice pressure of that priority attack in Sucker Punch as well. So I don't know if I've done anything, but I think that there's not too many calcs you want to go over with Bishop. Really puts on a lot of pressure on a lot of Pokemon. Say if we lead it with Tapu Koko against Mimilax, we've got the pressure that we're putting the knockoff onto the Snorlax. We can dazzle with Koko and Iron Head the Mimikyu, and this is a 252 health Mimikyu, so we'll guarantee the KO with Iron Head. It's not like our opponent can go for an Intimidate, because it's just going to further boost our attack. If you look at things like Mega Gengar, if it decides to attack, we can net it with a Sucker Punch easy. Let's think Gothitelle, like just standard Gothitelle, I guess, from the damage calculator here. Yeah, knockoff going to be a one-hit KO on this variant. I'd imagine people probably tech for that, but again, the beauty with Bishop is it's one of those physical type attackers. They can't have its attack lowered through Intimidate, so you don't need to worry about it too much. It is very frail. You've got to make sure that you're taking good care of it, because it is weak to quite a few things. That Steel and Dog typing have some big weaknesses, but it can pick up KOs on a lot of Pokemon. Knock off onto something like Aegislash. Let's see if we give it an item, just throw on an Adrenaline Orb there, but you can see it does huge damage. If we hit into the King Shield, it doesn't do anything because we get our attack load. Attack, obviously, Defiant activates and puts our attack back up to what it was. So it's a very good Aegislash check as well. So we're kind of really well versed against Aegislash as well. But one of the biggest things that Incineroar kind of does struggle with is is Landorus Therian, the other big intimidator in the format, and Bishop helps put that off predominantly. And the knockoff is always handy on something like Bishop, just to get rid of opposing team's items, especially stuff like Snorlax, and just really using Bishop to kind of threaten Trick Room setters predominantly, knock off items, and put a lot of pressure on and pick up like just bits of chip damage where possible with Sucker Punch, and then put it in range for other things like our big attackers like Blaziken, like Landorus, like Azumarill, to kind of clean up the game later on. Okay, so that's the Bishop there in a nutshell, I guess. The next member, the more interesting member of the team that we've got, is very common Tapu Koko, but we've opted for an Assault Vest variant on the team here, and for a few reasons. When I was looking at the team overall, I felt like I needed quite a bit of support. I wanted some speed control in here, because although we've got the speed boost, there's some situations where there's Tailwind up. If you can guarantee the Electro Web onto a couple of targets and you get the speed boost that turn, then it means you're outspeeding them with Blaziken. Also for the Landorus, how we're running Landorus in this team, the speed control is going to be very important for Landorus, especially against things like Mega Metagross. That we've got good answers in Bishop and Blaziken, but if for some reason we lose them and we've only got like Tapu Koko Landorus, then we've got an option to hit Mega Metagross, reduce its speed, and then Landorus becomes very threatening very quickly, and it supports it without that scarf on it like you would commonly see. We've got Skydrop as well. Skydrop is a nice option on Tapu Koko to take certain Pokemon out of the equation for that turn, which then allows Blaziken to get a speed boost and possibly take down a target, then protect the following turn on the drop, get the speed boost, and then become very threatening. And it also supports Azumarill extremely well, because we can Skydrop a big threat, we can Belly Drum, we can protect on Tapu Koko, dropping the threat, and then the next turn Azumarill's ready to kind of rock and roll with its Aqua Jet, its knockoffs, and so on. And also we went for Swords Dance on Landorus, so it supports that as well. So it supports a team kind of all around. Electro Web, as I say, it's a mode of speed control for the team, supporting that. Dazzling Gleam, I really felt like we could have went Nature's Madness there, but I feel like I wanted something to hit Kommo-o primarily with if we got into a tight spot, and always having that spread kind of damage. Although we're not going to be hitting very hard with this Tapu Koko at all because it's super weak compared to your regular Tapu Koko, especially without the Life Orb or a Z move. It's a nice chip to have, and we've got enough bulk in Tapu Koko to kind of take a lot of attacks, so we should be able to kind of get a few off. And obviously Volt Switch is the last move on there, which gives us the pivot option to get out of there, readjust our board position, especially if we're in front of things like Mega Gengar, things like Gothitelle that are going to try and trap us, and we need to adjust our board position, as well as just, you know, being able to outspeed the majority of things and just get out of the harm's way and get something in that can take it, maybe like a Moongus or something like that. So that is the moveset in a nutshell. Obviously I've said that we've got the Assault Vest on there just to give it additional bulk where needed. The EV spread, which is pretty nice, is 252 attack, 20 defense, 12 special attack, 116 special defense, and 108 speed with a timid nature. So there were a few benchmarks I wanted to make sure that Tapu Koko hit, especially in this team. One of them was to outspeed base 110 Pokemon, primarily Metagross, and the other 110 base Pokemon in the format, and anything below that. So that's where the 180 speed stat comes in there. Creeping even base 111s really as well. Then the HP and the special defense stat allow us to take a Wartarium Z from a Ludicolo in the rain, which is again a pretty important calc to get, I feel, because then if we can get an Electro Web off, if we can get a Sky Drop or whatever we want to try and get off that turn, then it's pretty big for us. And Tapu Koko with the Assault Vest is not bad against rain teams. Obviously Swampert's a little bit of an issue, but overall it kind of does a job, and we can jump over to the damage calculator now to see some calcs from here. So we can see as well, one of the more common things is becoming more and more used within the format is that special Scoffed Landorus that we're seeing a lot more of now. Now an Earth Power is going to be its primary move. As you can see, this Tapu Koko takes it very comfortably, so that's a plus, isn't it? Just to be able to kind of get an attack off unexpectedly, I guess. Ludicolo in the rain. Let's see the Hydro Pump. Yeah, you can see Z move Hydro Pump from a Ludicolo in the rain does 98% maximum, which is really nice, really nice. Good, we can take that. Tapu Lele, Shattered Psyche. Let's have a look what this does. I'm sure yeah, we take it in Electric Terrain. We'll not take it. No one's taking it in Psychic Terrain, but in Electric Terrain we take that quite comfortably. What else? The defense, I think, is just enough to take it's more than enough to take a Stomping Tantrum from a Metagross, and we probably take an Adamant as well. Yeah, we just take about an Adamant, which is pretty nice. So whatever Stomping Tantrum is coming our way, we can take that. What else am I thinking about with Tapu Koko? There's lots of calcs and they leave my head right now, but pretty much Tapu Koko is there to take a number of attacks, as many attacks as possible, and just support the rest of the team as well as possible. Obviously it's got the Volt Switch and the Electro Web, which are nice damage on, especially with the Electric Terrain up on water types and things like that. Let's have a look at Tapu Fini as well, because Tapu Fini can obviously be, let's have a look at the specs variant. We're going to be taking even a Hydro Pump there, so I mean, even if we take the specs off and goes the Hydro Pump, we take that 100% of the time, and that's in rain as well. So I mean, even out of rain we're going to be doing that. And if we go into the Electric Terrain, which we obviously are, Electro Web's still doing really nice damage. Volt Switch is doing 50%. And you know, it's not bad. It's not bad, is it? It's not bad. Still doing decent enough damage. And let's see, Kommo-o, what the Dazzling Gleam does. We'll not be picking up the KO, but we'll be getting the 2-hit easily, yeah. So if we can chip it a little bit with something else, then we can definitely pick up the KO with Dazzling Gleam, which is nice. Even after, I guess we'd be 2-hit KO on it after the Clangorous Soul Blaze, which we do. So we don't need to worry about it too much. But that kind of covers Tapu Koko quite well, I guess, to round things off. I felt like we did need some sort of ground immunity, because if you look at the team so far, we've got Blaziken, Bishop, Koko, all ground weak Pokemon, so we needed some sort of ground immunity. I felt as well, we've not got too much that can really switch in on Tapu Koko as well, one of the more popular Tapus in the format, and Zapdos as well. So we needed something, and kind of Landorus fits the bill there. It also gives us Intimidate support as well, which further protects Blaziken from those ground type, rock type attacks. Gives us a good answer to things like T-Tar, Excadrill as well, that we might otherwise struggle against, and just generally offering Intimidate support, as I say, to support the whole of the team. We went for a bit of a Z-move variant. It is the Z-move user on the team. Protect, Sword Stance, Rock Slide, Earthquake. The moveset is pretty straightforward. I didn't really want to go too much into detail here. I didn't want to spend too much time on Landorus. I wanted to be Adamant max speed. We know after an Electro Web on most things we're going to be outspeeding it, so that's fine. And then we've got enough attack investment there, and just a little bit HP and defense investment when we can jump over to the damage calculator. Moveset of Sword Stance, Earthquake and Rock Slide, and the Sword Stance is there to kind of take advantage of our opponent switching, predicting a switch, Sword Stancing on that, and then putting a lot of pressure on our opponent. And you can see like the results of that, like Earthquake +1 on a bulky Tapu Fini is going to be easily a one-hit KO. And also with the Landorus as well, we do have the Bishop there as well to further protect the Landorus, so that kind of works in tangent there with it. Let's see. I don't know if we actually take too many attacks with this Landorus. Yeah, HP Ice from really a non-investor's modest Zapdos. We've got a little bit of a chance to take it, but you know, if we get +1 Rock Slide is going to do a 2-hit KO, +2 is going to be doing a lot. Basically we've got a lot of protection for Landorus. We've got good switch-ins for Landorus for those attacks, so I feel like the synergy with Landorus is quite good, but it's there to do a job, to offer that ground immunity, offer Intimidate support, and have a good electric resist switch-in as well, and it kind of fits the bill on all of that, and then does offer us ground stab as well. It's very, very missed in the team, and rock stab as well. It's not stab, but a rock type attack alongside the Blaziken. So if we get into positions where we're faster than both opponents, we've got the option to double rock slide, and then you've always got the flinch chance there. But I wouldn't really advocate that. It's just an option, obviously, and the coverage is nice there. Earthquake, obviously we all know Earthquake covers stuff on the ground, and most stuff that's flying, that's resistant to that, we can hit with rock slide. So makes a lot of sense. I didn't really feel like U-turn would be better here. I felt like the option to kind of boost Landorus. The whole of the team is very like setup based. It's going to boost itself up. We've got the Bishop with the Defiant. We've got the Azumarill with the Belly Drum. We've got the Blaziken with its the Bishop with its Defiant ability. So we've got a lot of setup on the team. We've got Tapu Koko to help with that. We've got a Moongus to help with that as well. So I feel like it kind of fits the team as well. We don't need as much of a pivot with the U-turn because we've got Tapu Koko that can kind of act on that, and we've got the Z-move as well that we can like just try and nuke things with, because that Z-move is pretty powerful. So moving on, because we are running out of time and we're getting very, very close to the 30-minute mark, so I want to try and wrap this up very quickly. Next member of the team, and this is kind of like the tag on end of the team. If you look at this part of the team here from the Blaziken, Bishop, Tapu Koko, Landorus, now we've got the Bishop there that's good at stopping Trick Room Pokemon specifically, but if they're partnered with a fake out user, it becomes a little more difficult, or any sort of speed control with fake out becomes very difficult for this team, and that's one thing that I wanted to kind of just concentrate on a little bit with this end part of the team, to make sure that we had a good Trick Room mode if Trick Room was an issue and we couldn't stop it being set up, and a mode that works without any speed control at all, and that is Amoonguss Azumarill. You've got the Rage Powder there with the Amoonguss that helps the Azumarill set up, and then you've got that priority attack on the Azumarill with the Aqua Jet that once we're +6, we're going to be just picking up KOs on pretty much everything that doesn't resist it, and then we've got a little bit of coverage to do elsewhere on the moveset that I'll go into when we get to Azumarill. But the Amoonguss here is pretty much to help us in our Trick Room matchup. Redirection, obviously, to support a lot of the other members of the team, like the Landorus and the Blaziken specifically. from the single type attack targets that they're very weak to, like Psychic and Ice. We went for a Wiki Berry out of everything because the Wiki Berry is not going to clash with our nature. And if anything like Scissor or Araquanid decide to steal it, then it will confuse them more than likely because they're probably adamant. Araquanid probably not, but more like Scissor, so that was kind of the reasoning for that. We've got the Regenerator ability that allows us to get back some HP when we switch it out. Moveset: Protect, Spore, Rage Powder, Sludge Bomb. Now I did discuss on the stream last week, not this week, last week, that I thought Giga Drain or Energy Ball might be a very good option here, but I've kind of stuck with the Sludge Bomb because it does come in handy against stuff like Tapu Bulu, although Energy Ball would be extremely handy, especially against things like Gastrodon in particular, it would make the matchup a lot easier. I don't know if I would change it. Clear Smog was a very good idea, and I think probably one of the better options. I might, if we went forward with the team a bit more, I'd probably use Clear Smog because it just gives us that attack and it gives us an option against things like Milotic. If we did want to abuse our Intimidate user and Landorus in a particular match, then you know we've got the fallback of Clear Smog to get rid of those stat boosts, and especially stuff like Calm Mind, Tapu Fini as well. We can sit in front of it and not worry about it boosting up, especially in front of Azumarill, which you kind of tend to see if players are running that sort of mode with the Calm Mind, Tapu Fini. They will tend to sit in front of Azumarill, Calm Mind up. So with the Clear Smog there, it does give you a nice option to get rid of those boosts and just kind of keep the pressure on your side of the field. EV spread is 236 HP, 164 defense, and 108 special defense with a relaxed nature. So we'll pop over to damage calculator. Don't know why I've got their attacks in. I think it's more about the defensive capabilities. So that very common Incineroar that we were talking about earlier, 116, attack, EVs, adamant nature. We're always going to take the Flare Blitz straight up, but we'll just proc our berry and we can get some health back. Against like the likes of Metagross, we're going to take very likely that it's got Zen Head, but if it does, it's only got a 12.7% chance out of Psychic Terrain to KO, so most of the time we take that anyway. Ice Punch is going to be with, let's just throw a Figgy Berry on here. Figgy Berry. Yeah, it's always going to be a 2-hit kill, but if we can intimidate it, then it turns into a guaranteed 3-hit kill, doesn't it? So that's quite nice, which is always good. What else? Let's think. We're not really taking anything from Charizard. Why we couldn't? I felt like I wanted more physical side of it because of the things that I'll be taking and pulling across. Like most things we're going to be taking anyway, like Gengar Sludge Bombs. Take 100% of the time, and the Shadow Ball, well, even -2 will take a -2 Shadow Ball most of the time. -2 if they've got fake tears, you know, we're on the better side of taking that if we're -2, but otherwise we're going to be taking that. It's only got a 46% chance to 2-hit kill. I mean, to be honest, if I'm honest about anything in the team, more than anything, I think the Amoonguss spread is something I literally threw together. I did a few calcs, put it on the team, and I think it's something that definitely could be optimized. So it's something, if you guys want to take this team forward and use it, I think it's something to definitely look at and really cater it for the team, because at the minute it does a job, but I don't think it's really nailed down to do it as well as it probably should do. It does as much as it needs to, and most of the time you're kind of sacrificing it to get the Azumarill set up, and that's the big thing. Once that's set up, like in a lot of games, especially against Tapu Lele and Metagross leads, as long as the Lele isn't scarfed, and you can Rage Powder with a Amoonguss, you take the attack from the Metagross, the Lele knocks the Amoonguss out, and then you get the free switch into Tapu Koko, and you've got the Azumarill set up ready to go with the Aqua Jet, which is pretty nice. So that's like an option. Amoonguss obviously can take a lot of attacks because it's just naturally quite bulky anyway. With the berry as well, it just adds to that. But the big thing for me was really just the Incineroar there, and obviously you don't see many max attack Incineroar, but that one is probably as high as you kind of see. Most tournament run Incineroar. I wouldn't say people go very much higher than that. So we kind of take that anyway. So that is the Amoonguss, and then we've got the last member of the team, which is the Azumarill. And again, this is very straightforward. Azumarill, we just went for that even HP number with the EVs there, 206, to make sure when we do half it with Belly Drum that we always proc the berry, because it has to be, you know, an even number, so we get to 50%, not like 51, or which could be detrimental to the ability to use the set as you want it to be used. So that is a nice number that we hit. You could go a little bit less and put EVs elsewhere. I really didn't feel like we needed to, because Azumarill, we want to max that attack. We want to make sure that we're getting the most out of our Belly Drum and those attack boosts with the huge power. And then we've got very basic, just Aqua Jet. We could have went for a return there, but I felt like the knockoff was a lot better, because we guarantee the one-hit KO on stuff like Amoonguss, which you can see here. If it's got a berry, even relaxed nature, we're +6, 252 health, 252 defense. You're not really going to face too many Amoonguss that are EV'd like that, but just in case, you can always ensure if it's got the item there that you're going to get the one-hit KO on it with knockoff. You're always going to outspeed it as well, which is very nice. Ferrothorn as well with the knockoff, doing very good damage to it, +6 knockoff, and that's even without an item. So we'll just pop an item on there so they can see knockoff going to be doing the one hit kill, and we're always going to be outspeeding it, which is always nice. Nice thing as well, knowing that you've got a little chance. If you've got 75% health, you've got a little chance to take a -1 power whip as well, because you've got to worry as well. One of the things you could change with the team is maybe the Amoonguss for Clefairy, but one of the reasons why I didn't really do this was because if we put Clefairy in over the Amoonguss here, we'd have 3 fairy types on the team, and I feel like that was maybe increasing the weaknesses too much. With the Amoonguss, it kind of gives you that nice Fire, Water, Grass Core with the Blaziken. It gives you that nice switching synergy within the team as well. Now you forego some matchups like Cortana and Tapu Bulu, but with things like Mega Blaziken and Bishop, I feel like you can get away with it pretty nicely, and the Amoonguss fits in a lot better than probably the Clefairy here. And also against Coma, or you've got that double fairy already with the Tapu Koko or Azumarill that you can switch in, and you can always kind of nullify the Z move, which is another kind of added bonus to the team. But that, if you are wondering why not Clefairy over the Amoonguss, that is why I didn't want 3 fairy types in the team, and I felt like Amoonguss fit the team a lot better, supported the team a lot better overall and generally. But there we go, guys. Team matchups. So as I say, Scarf, Lele and Metagross is a bit of a problem for this team. You can get around that, but if you decide to lead, I think in a best of 3 game it's a lot easier to deal with. If they've got Gastrodon with that, it's an extremely difficult matchup. It was one of the team I lost to in the PC in the top 4 matches. I just couldn't get around it because I had Drifblim as well, which had Will-O-Wisp, Tailwind, Knockoff, loads of really horrible techs, and it's always playing that guessing game whether that's going to switch in. Like getting the Azumarill setup was easy enough, but it was always the guessing game whether or not they were going to switch in the Gastrodon on an Aqua Jet or the Tapu Lele on an Aqua Jet, and it was just really hard to call, and you were like forced to make and get the calls right every time. I played the same guy in Swiss, beat him, but in the best of 3 I just couldn't do it, which was a bit frustrating. But the team matchup was just extremely difficult overall. Against stuff like Metagross in general, though, you're pretty well off. The thing is with Blaziken, I feel like you've got to do is sometimes not be so predictable. You want to fall into the trap of always protecting turn 1, and sometimes you're better off not protecting turn 1, expecting them not to attack into you because the protects are obvious to get that speed boost, and then protecting the following turn, which kind of puts you on an even keel with maybe tailwind setters and things like that. What else? I think pretty much overall the team can kind of cope with a lot of things. Like Gothitelle trap teams, I always find they're very easy to deal with this team. You've got the Bishop there that kind of puts off the Gothitelle lead a lot of the time, especially with Incineroar, because I didn't want to give the Bishop the boost. And Amoonguss Azumarill in those matches is very nice because the Manectric, you can pull away those electric type attacks. You can set up on Manectric Finny leads very easily and then just start kind of chucking out Aqua Jets and knockoffs and things like that, and then you've still got 2 Pokemon in the back if you lose the Amoonguss. Against Metagross, you've got a lot of things to handle it. Against most of the Tapus, you were able to deal with quite easily. Once Blaziken gets 1 speed boost, you can take out things like Koko, Lele, Tapu Bulu. Tapu Fini is a bit more difficult to deal with this team, and that's why I would kind of tend to maybe go for Energy Ball on the Amoonguss as well, just to give that bit of grass coverage over the Sludge Bomb. I don't know, that was probably like the one thing I would do is change the Amoonguss. EV spreads 100%, relook at those and get something really solid nailed down, and probably go like, I think you want to take more special type attacks if you can, and try and retain some of those defensive calcs as well, or maybe just go full on, take more defensive calcs and just forgo your special defensive calcs. But it's entirely how you feel about the team overall. And the other thing would be probably Energy Ball over the Sludge Bomb, just to give a little bit more coverage and let you have options against stuff like Swampert in particular, Gastrodon, Milotic as well, because you've not got a big electric type attacker on the team, because Tapu Koko is obviously more support variant, so having something else to kind of support that Tapu Koko to get rid of those threats is it would make things a lot easier. So that's probably one of the things I would change here. But that is the team overall in a nutshell. I know I said I wanted to do a very brief overview. 15 to 20 minutes did not happen. I just don't feel like I can. I need to talk a lot more about it, and there's probably about ton of stuff I could say more about this team, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to say that the Pastebin is in the description below. The QR code is in the description below. I think that's pretty much everything you need for the team, guys. If you do try it out, let me know how you get on with it. Let me know your thoughts on the team. Let me know if you would change some stuff. Basically, the team was put together very quickly. I spent a little bit of time on some of the EV spreads, primarily the Blaziken, primarily the Tapu Koko. The rest of the team was kind of just thrown together to do its job, hit those kind of key benchmarks that we needed to make sure that we were getting KOs and surviving a few attacks here, there and everywhere. But it's definitely not a polished article, but as you guys have asked for a team review, and it's something I'd kind of like to do with the teams that we play on the channel going forward, because I think it's quite it's a bit more insight into the team overall, and it also gives you access to the teams as well to play them. And then they're here forever, aren't they, guys? So I'm going to wrap things up there. We are on 42 minutes. Oh my gosh. But I'm going to be away on holiday now, so for 2 weeks. There will be content on the channel, so make sure you catch next week. We've got a very fun team, very cool Mega Pokemon featured in next week's team, so make sure you do catch that. There'll be no streams for the next 2 weeks, which is really sad. It makes me sad. But I hope you guys can hold on and hold out for when I return, and our stream schedule will return Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 PM UK time. Make sure you have hit that subscribe button on the channel, guys, and I will see you all later. I hope you've enjoyed this team review episode, and I will see you all very soon. So until then, guys, take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for viewing. As always, so much love for you all, the Flinch Squad, and I will see you all very soon. So until then, guys, take care of yourselves, and bye bye.